We have a guest tonight? We don't have a guest tonight.
No, we don't. Nope, we do not.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another installment of Paranormal Q&A with Jack Kenna and Carly Hall.
Hi.
Hope everybody's doing good out there tonight. I haven't seen anybody jumping on quite yet, so there's Bob Burnell. How you doing there, Bob? He's just jumped on. I'm sure we'll get a few others.
Yeah.
So we will there's Michelle Millens. We're just going to wait a minute and see who jumps in. We got Bob and Michelle so far. There might be others because I'm sure there's like a slight lag.
Yeah.
Just want to say hi to all our friends out there. Michelle's giving us I'm looking on the Facebook page. Michelle's waving with her dead hand coming out of the page.
Oh, yeah, I saw it. That's cute. I like that.
They really doing. Bobby Carter, I see is in. Jeffrey, Steve White. Hello, everyone. Good to see everybody tonight. We'll just start off by just saying I apologize for not being on last Tuesday. I was actually not really feeling that well. That's why we kind of canceled at the last. Just wasn't, up to par. That's all. Yeah, I had kind of a stomachache kind of thing. Nothing bad, nothing horrible. I think I just picked up a little bug or something. Anyway, so we are back on. It's good to see everybody out here. Everybody's doing good tonight. See you all back. And Steve White says, I'll be back. I'm going to share this out. All right, thank you, Steve. I appreciate that.
Steve.
Yeah. Carl, I see everybody. Carl's on. Carl Mitchell. Michelle again. Michelle Millens is up there. So it's good to see everybody on tonight. And hey, Carl, we'll hit Bob before he gets on. Our good friend Bob Maloney, it was his birthday last week. So everybody, when he comes on, say happy birthday to him. So, because we weren't on last week, so we missed doing that for him. So, but yeah, Bob was one of the people that took our class in October last year, and Carl was as well as a few others. MJ we see is on. Jeffrey Kersey, hope I pronounced that right. Robin Kale, everybody's jumping on. So I hope everybody had a good weekend or a good week last week, and hope you had a good weekend. Curly, what have you been up to?
We had a busy weekend. Just getting everything ready for school and stuff.
All right, yeah, that's right, because you've actually already started, right?
Yes.
Carly is studying to be
an
architect.
Yes.
Yeah, she's going.
I love every second of it.
Yeah, every second. It hasn't been that many seconds yet, but yeah, you're getting it. But yeah, so she's starting her new, career goal. And becoming an architect. So that's what she's been starting to do work this week. I haven't had too much paranormal stuff going on. Still because of this COVID stuff, we're not doing too much. I will say a quick hello out there to Holly Cataldo. I hope I pronounced that right. Holly, pardon me if I didn't get your last name right.
Bob.
There's Bob Maloney. Bob, hey, Bob. We already announced that you had a birthday last week, so happy birthday, Bob. Sorry we weren't on last week. We would have done it last week, but I wasn't feeling well last Tuesday, so that's why we had to cancel out. Actually, I wasn't feeling good most of the week. But happy birthday, Bob. Always good to see you and have you on. We were just saying we haven't had too much paranormal stuff going on lately just because all the COVID stuff. So haven't been doing too many cases. We've had some contacts. I got to touch base with Ellen regarding those to see where we're at with some of those. You're very welcome, Bob. So we'll see what we're going to be able to work out with some of those cases coming up. We did, though. We didn't talk about that yet. We went to the USS Salem.
No, we did talk about that.
Did we? Oh, okay. That's because it's 2 weeks ago, right? Yeah. So yeah, that's right. We did talk about that, but we had a good time there. We had a very interesting photo that was taken.
Yeah, Chris's photo. That was so cool because we were standing there in the walkway portion,
Right.
and it was just a simple we were waiting for someone to turn the lights on, and Chris
Right.
was just taking pictures, and all of a
Right.
sudden he goes, "Oh my gosh, look at this!" And we weren't even doing anything. We were just standing there talking to each other. So that was really cool.
Yeah, it was funny. You guys,
Of course, you joked about
yeah,
something, and
I did made a joke about a thing that was, it says, it was a sign that said cruise mess. And of course I made the stupid joke of, oh, if they're a mess, let them clean it up. So, and then Chris took the photos and there it was, his hand. As a matter of fact, here, I did find it. I was trying to do this to find it. And I'm going to pull this up for everybody so you can see the photo that we're talking about. This is right off my Facebook page. Chris had posted it there. So I'm going to see if I can share this with you guys, let you look at it and see what your guys' opinion is on this. See if I can share it here. 2 seconds. Share the screen and I'll pull it up for you. And you guys tell us what you think. So there's the photo. It's Carly, one of the people that was there that night, and that's me. And then there's his hand. Now, nobody waved in front of the camera, but we caught that. We did notice, we did talk about it a little bit when we were on, and we did mention that, if you look at it, it looks like the hand is moving, obviously. But it does look, for the most part, like it's see-through. You can see through the whole thing. It's not solid in almost any location on it. So it's interesting. Don't know what to make of it.
And the fact that we caught that in real time was crazy.
As a matter of fact, I can actually zoom up on that a little bit for you guys.
Yeah.
Just the.
We got some really good activity there.
I'm trying to increase the zoom there. There you go. Seems to be a whoop. Oh, look at all the photos. Somebody sent us a bunch of stuff. That's from a while back. Now, let's see if we can get back to that photo now. Where the hell happened? Let's see, I zoomed in and everything. What the hell? All right. Oh, there's a nice photo from the thing too. Let me back up a bit because this is it's really messed up on me here. I don't know what happened. I think it's somehow I clicked into my photos, but let's try to just go backwards and see what happens. Well, I'm going to take that down for a second. We'll see if I can get back to it. Sorry about that. That got messed up a little bit. But anyways, so I will bring that back up in just a second. I just got to redo that screen. But interesting. So that's a skinny arm, whatever it may be. Yeah, the skinniness, I don't know. That could be either from just, if you're trying to debunk it and say it was a person, it could just be something that looks like, could look that way because it's being blurred, because it's moving. So it could look thin because of that. Or it could be a woman's arm, right? Maybe somebody smaller or thinner. It's hard to say. Oh, I'm going to say this. If I do lose you guys tonight, we've been having some intermittent internet problems because of some storms going through here. So if we do lose you tonight, hang in there. We'll definitely get you back. I don't think we're going to have too many problems, though. There's a little bit of delay and stuff, though. All right, let's see. I'm back on my page here. Let's see if I can find that again. And Chris Sanders did take that photo. I don't know if Chris is on tonight or yet or not. Hey, MJ, I see you out there. Cindy Leach, Patrick Connors. Hey, Barry Martz. Barry. Nick Cates. Renee Dykes. Hello, Renee. Good to see you again. Just wanted to say hi to our friends over there. Okay, so let's try
Renee, I am the storm.
Yeah, you are. Sometimes. All right, so let me try to find this photo. Yeah, I'm having some lag on the system here tonight. And I'm not even using the Wi-Fi. I'm actually using direct link stuff here. So goes to show you what's really going on with the internet tonight. So yeah, interesting image for sure. Again, I apologize. I'm going to let it lag. It's going to lag for a little bit, so I'll let that do its thing. While I try to find it again. So just waiting for that to catch up. Oh, Russ, hey Jack. Oh yeah, do we have a question tonight?
Yes.
Question. Oh, is it from Steve? Steve's question?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to put it up here. I'm going to post your question, Steve. Question, guys. Have you guys ever worked with paranormal skeptics, possibly? Yeah, all the time. Actually, a lot of our clients, if you want to call them that, a lot of the people we help with residential cases really don't believe in a lot of this stuff. At least there's always one or two in the family that don't. And so they kind of look at it sideways. And by the time I don't worry about it, because my perspective on it, I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. All right. If they don't want to really believe, that's fine. Most people won't until they have their own experience anyway. But usually once we've worked with the family, by the time we're done with everything and we show them what we found, going through stuff with them and all that, they actually are a little bit more open-minded to, well, maybe there is something. Those in the family that are skeptical of it. So yeah. I mean, Carla, you could speak to that really with your own experience. People, well, I won't get into who or what, but some people just don't believe, that you're going through something. So
yes, exactly. And for like group events and stuff, actually, it's very helpful because they're very good at debunking. So it's very helpful to have kind of like a skeptic on hand in order to help you debunk what may be going on, activity.
Yeah, and we have people on our team who are, even I'm skeptical when I walk into any case. I don't just assume that's what I'm being told is happening. You can't. You have to. You can listen to what the people are telling you. You can, not really make any decision one way or the other until you get there and you actually investigate. I believe people are telling me what they think is happening to them or what they believe is happening. Until I get there, until our team gets ourselves, I can never tell them, and I never will tell them whether their home is haunted or not before, or whether they're experiencing a haunting or anything, until I actually get there and our team gets there and we investigate. Because I just don't know. I mean, some people do want you to tell them, they'll tell you, oh, this has happened to me, that's happened to me. My home is haunted, isn't it? I don't know. I only know what you tell me you're experiencing. I don't know what your experience is, what you think it is or not. So we have to go in there, we have to make that determination. So you're always skeptical. A good investigator is always skeptical of the environment they're entering before they investigate. They never make a determination just based on even what the client is telling them. Even in cases such as a demonic case where somebody thinks they're possessed. Actually, typically the person who is possessed won't even know they are. They won't know anything's wrong because that's how demons work. They don't let the person know. So usually when somebody calls me and tells me, I'm possessed by a demon, probably not. Because if you were, you wouldn't know that you were. That's the whole trick of the demonic.
They don't want you to know so that you don't get help.
Right. They don't want you to know. So I'm skeptical when somebody tells me something like that. That doesn't mean they don't have a haunting going on or something else going on. Or they could potentially sometimes be being influenced by a spirit in the home, not necessarily possessed by it. That's also a possibility. But you keep these things in the back of your head, but you don't make any decisions until after you investigate. So I don't know if that answers your question, kind of, Steve. If we,
yeah, we kind of hit it in different directions.
Did we? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
But we do have people with us that are skeptical, and we do work with people who are skeptical. Yes. I guess that's a basic answer. I guess I gave too much of it.
Yes. And the answer is yes.
I always do, don't I? So Carl says we got photobombed by a spirit, saying hi.
Yes.
Very possibly, or they didn't like my joke, and that's why they blurred me out. And Bob Burnell, I see, has a question. And Renee says she has had believers made out of quite a few skeptics. Okay, yeah. I don't focus on trying to make anybody believe anything. We go, we investigate, we present what our findings are. They can make their own determination for themselves. We know what we believe, right? Once we're done, but it's up to the person to decide whether they believe our findings or not. So hopefully that answered that question. And Barry says, yeah, there's storms here in the Adirondacks too. Yep, it's all over the place. It's all the way down to New York City, Barry.
Yeah.
Let's see. There was another question I saw. I'm trying to remember whose question it was. Oh, here it is. Bob Burnell. Okay, I'm going to post this up there, Bob. Okay, I'm going to take that photo down. Very interesting photo. I was surprised by it even when I first saw it. And I was like, I have no idea. I have a question. Do you think the demon coming up the stairs? Because my regards to my story I told towards you as a child was a projection of what you feared as a child, or an actual demon or a bad spirit? Oh, it was Bob. I would tell you this: it was an actual demon. I didn't have those kind of fears as a kid. I didn't think about demons or really ghosts at that age. I mean, at 17, I was into that, but I wasn't afraid of that. I didn't think of it that way. It was more of an interest. It was something I was curious about, but I never really looked at demon stuff, really, even at that age. I was more just into, like, the spirits, ghosts, stuff like that. Never thought of demons. But having been raised Roman Catholic, I mean, I knew what that thing was when I saw it.
And you can feel it too.
It's not a fear that I had. It was actually there. That I know. And the other voice that I heard, I didn't even think of what that other voice was at the time that came through. It says, everything's going to be okay. You have things to do. And then the other demonic thing screamed, and it was just gone. But yeah, I think it was an actual demon that was coming. Whether to possess me or whether to take my soul at that, I don't know. I can't tell you that, but it was real. I do believe it was real. It wasn't a dream. It wasn't an imagination. It actually was occurring to me in a spiritual way at the time. And I do believe it's because of what I have gotten into, what I am doing now. And now having been on dealing with demonic cases, and actually more recently that possession, very first and hopefully only possession I ever get involved with. But even that wasn't so frightening, but it's disheartening. It's makes you wary. If there was any skepticism left of are demons real, if there was any left, that's gone, because they are real, and I can tell you that without a doubt that the demons are real. They exist, and it's not just a metaphor for something. At least in my opinion, based on my experience. All right, so I will tell you that. All right, hopefully that answered your question. All right, and Steve Whitehead. Now, before doing a residential investigation, do you ever ask the client what their expectations are meaning to do? They just want confirmation that their house is actually haunted. Actually, yeah, it's right in the 13-page form we send out to them. It was 13. I'm looking for it. It's 13. Yeah, just end it up that way. It is one of the very last things we ask them on the questionnaire is, what do you want done? What are you expecting? Or what do you want? And most of them are actually looking for help to have it removed. most don't just want confirmation. They do want to know that they're not crazy. That is usually one thing they do say. But the other thing is that they want whatever's there removed, if it can be. So those, we use a 13-page questionnaire. It's actually in the back of my book, Paranormal Research, Comprehensive Guide to Building a Strong Team. So it's right in that book. I think that was a 12-page at the time, but we've added an extra couple of questions to it since then. But yes, we do ask that, and they do tell us. They do always tell us. So, yeah, I think that answered the question.
Yeah.
Renee has a question. I'll let you read this one, Carly. I'll put it up there on the screen if you can see it.
She says, yeah, I also have it on my computer here.
Oh,
It
okay.
happened to me. I went in to cleanse a home and thinking from checking the place out that it was a typical haunting. Turns out it also had a very evil presence. It hid from me till I started my process. So what would you do if this happened to you? Has it? I stood my ground.
Yeah, we've done many cases. I mean, that's what's happened over the past couple of years is I've had a lot of cases where I've run into where there's something negative or potentially demonic in the home hiding. There's usually little tells for that. At least I found there's little tells for that, with not just what the family describes as happening, objects moving, things like that, people beginning to get aggressive for no real reasons. Even had that happen to me in one home where I walked in this one room and felt it very sharp, almost like an ice pick stuck into my temple. And then I began to feel like there was a lot of anger in that room. And then I became angry. After my team followed me in, we were just talking at that point. We were just going through the house. And I started to get angry at them, all of them, for no reason. So suddenly realized what was happening, and I pulled myself out of the room. And just walking out of that room, it went away. Those feelings went away. And that ended up having a demonic presence in the home. And yeah, you stand your ground. I mean, you're there to help these people. So if you don't have the experience with that, that's okay. You can make a phone call while you're there to somebody and say, hey, I think this is what's going on. We need help. So call somebody who can assist you, who has more experience with that stuff. That's why it's good to network with other teams, so you know who has different experiences and who has different expertise, so to speak, or more knowledge of certain things. And yeah, you don't want to get in over your head either. I wouldn't tell somebody to stand their ground if they've had no experience with a case like that or that type of entity before, because they wouldn't know what to do exactly anyway. There's more to it than just what you see on the TV shows. So you can quietly and nicely back out for that night if you do think you are dealing with something that's really negative that you have no experience with, and you can say, look, I had a phone call, something came up, we're going to have to reschedule this, and we'll come back another time. You can do that, and actually sometimes you're better off doing that than trying to go through with the investigation, especially if you already kind of think by some things that are happening that you're in over your head. Leave, contact somebody else who has more experience, ask them to try to help your team, then do schedule to go back. Don't leave that person hanging either. Don't leave that person trying to help hanging. But you may have to do that. I learned that early on. A good friend of mine who was a demonologist told me that years ago, that if we ever ran into a case that we thought was truly demonic, or that was in over our head, pleasantly or, quietly leave, or apologize for having to leave, and then told me to call her and she would help us out. So, and we'd go back a different day. So you can do that. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, if you do know how to deal with this stuff, then yeah, you stand your ground, and you try to help. So that doesn't mean screaming and yelling and stuff like that. It means doing prayer.
So just to follow up with that, she says, it took me by surprise. I woke up the next day extremely ill and a nosebleed, but thankfully their home is free and clear. Mainly the only problem they had was voices, mimics, and sightings, nothing really physical.
That's good.
So that's good that she helped them. Yeah.
Yeah, and you will take there will be a physical toll on you when you deal with things like that. Usually, it's a lot of you call it the paranormal hangover, but it's worse because you're completely exhausted and drained for usually several days up to a week, and you have to spiritually cleanse yourself too from all that. So yeah, it can get crazy sometimes. Let's see. I know we had a couple more questions. I'll just put this up because Nick had something to say in regards to that too. All years of investigation, I only had 3, maybe 4 encounters that I could actually call demonic in general, which goes to show they're extremely rare. They are extremely rare, right? Nick, you're very right about that. In my particular case, I think I run into more of them because I did have a priest friend of mine pray for me to get them.
Yeah.
So I think I've been cursed. And I don't believe that everything. Before that happened, I would say, I dare to say, I ever had a demonic case or ever ran into something that was truly demonic. And until that individual prayed for me to get them.
Well, I'm glad you got prayed for because I wouldn't be here if you did.
Well, I guess that's true. I don't know. I mean,
Because you helped me out with that, so.
Yeah, well, I didn't work your case though, but technically.
Well, you were kind of there to. I mean, this whole part of that process is another thing that people don't, I think about is that with these types of cases, it's not more or less cleansing. It's also working with the clients to help them in their daily lives to like alter their, I would say like activities to be more positive and alter their mindset and help improve their faith. So it's not more or less coming in to cleanse all the time. It's really just keeping in contact with them to help them renew their faith, which is what you did with me. You helped me out there and everything and taught me a lot. And, it's more just active communication, really.
Yeah. That's true. I mean, and when we did finally meet you for the first time, I did have experience with some of these types of cases already. So when you started opening up to us and telling us what happened, yeah, we understood it a lot better. What you're talking about, where you're coming from, made a lot of sense to us. Patrick has a question. I'll let you read that one.
Sure. Have your experiences in the paranormal brought you closer to a religion or a religious view of the afterlife, that there is a higher power or a creator? Yes. For me, yes, absolutely. You need to have a very strong faith in this field. That is your protection. I mean, we as humans cannot protect ourselves necessarily against, spiritual entities. We don't have that power. Our creator or the person or the being that we believe in is the one protecting us. So they have that power, or he, or whichever your religious view is or faith.
Right. For me,
that's where your faith stems from.
Yeah, and for me, it just reaffirmed my faith. I actually probably more solidified my belief, my faith. I'm Roman Catholic. I believe in Jesus Christ, and I do believe that protection is really there. It's reaffirmed what I already believed, and even just other experiences reaffirmed that there is an afterlife. There is life after death. It's not all bad. It's not all negative. I've run into spirits that seem very happy in the locations they're in. One is USS Constitution. The spirits that are there seem very content to be there. I would never even think about removing them. They don't seem stuck. They seem it's their home. It's where they want to be. So it's also brought me to see a different side of some of my faith, and that it's everything that's here, all spirits that are here on this earth are not all demonic. I know that is one part of the belief system, but it's reaffirmed mine, and it's helped me to help people. That's more important than anything else. Everybody has their own faith and their own belief. As long as you're strong with your faith and your belief, and it's all a positive thing, it's all good. It's all good. All right, let's move down. Here's a, oh, here's one from Steve White. Jack and Carly, do shadow people have a gender, male and female? It's a good question. I'll let Carly speak first on that one. What do you think?
Well, I think it can be either. I mean, when it comes to spirits, they can manifest and present themselves, however they want, sometimes to a limit. But if they appear as shadow people, I mean, that's them. They're male or female. You kind of have to be more, I guess, kind of observant of what kind of the outline kind of looks like in order to determine that. But yeah, I believe that they can be either.
I've seen both. Actually, I've seen all three. So what?
Yeah, you have seen all three.
I have seen all three. I have seen what I would confirm through what I saw in the EVP that I caught in one case, that it was a female. It was less than 4 feet from me at the end of a couch, standing next to the couch while I was sitting on the couch. And I hear this noise, and I look over. The noise was unrelated to what it was, I think. But I look over, and there's this form of a female standing there looking at me. Just looking at me. You could tell it was kind of tilted, the head turned, looking at me. And I wasn't scared of it either, which tells me it wasn't anything negative. And I tried to catch it on the video camera, and it wouldn't show up in the infrared camera. It was blocking out a door in my vision, in my actual sight. It blocked out a door that was on the other side of the couch. But in the camera, I could just see the door. I couldn't see the shadow figure. So my response was, shit. I actually swore. And right at that moment, as we later on we're reviewing everything, I caught an EVP, and then I watched this shadow figure fade away. But I caught an EVP, this shadow figure, female voice saying didn't like me. So I think she thought I swore at her, and she went away. She disappeared. She faded away. That's the short of it. It's actually in the comic book. The story is Spirits of Forgotten Souls of Bay Path, and it's in the comic book form. If you wanted to see that, that's the name of the comic, and you could check that out if you wanted to. But that actually did happen. I've seen male shadow figures in many different locations, including the Star of India, the ship out in San Diego. And I've seen things present themselves as very odd-shaped shadow figures that were either, one I know was demonic, and another I do think was something more elemental. And the demonic thing showed itself like the shape of a gingerbread man.
Yes, and I remember you saying.
People will say, well, why is that? What was that about? Carly's walking around over there.
Sorry, the cat jumped up on my stuff.
Okay. So, yeah, it was because of a movie. There's a movie that's out there. It's called The Brothers Grimm. And there's part of that movie that always kind of freaks me out every time you see this. The gingerbread man thing kind of comes up like it's shaped like a gingerbread man that's made of mud and steals the girl's face and runs off. You got to see the show to know what I'm talking about. It always freaked me out, and I'd seen that show just a week before we did that investigation. So I think it tried to present itself. A demonic will try to present itself as something that scares you, that truly scares you. And I think it tried to present itself as that, but I didn't even think about that at the time, and I actually ran towards it, and it just took off, disappeared. But it showed itself as a gingerbread man, very odd. So I've seen all different kinds of shadow figures. So some are just male, female, some can be other things. And those usually don't present themselves as human. They present themselves as something different. So hopefully that answered that. I think we got your question. Yeah, I think we got your answer. And you may have learned something else too. Hi,
Ted.
And Barry, I'm sorry that you're having trouble with your tablet there. Now he's having trouble watching us, I guess. So sorry about that, Barry. Um, and Barry, remember, we are also on YouTube. So if you can pull the YouTube up on your tablet and go to Paranormal Q&A with Jack, Kenna, and Carly Hall, look that up. You might be able to see it easier on there rather than Facebook. Unless it's just a tablet issue. Let's see. I'll put this up because Steve says, he goes, I always wear a cross that was blessed by an African priest when he gave it to me. He told me never take it off. And that's a good thing to do. Yes, it's all about your faith and protection. I have my St. Benedict's ring I wear, as well as some other things. That's blessed by my priest. So we always keep that. And Barry, no problem. He says, sorry for recent messages that make no sense. They made sense. I know what you're talking about there, Barry. Tablets can be a pain in the butt. But again, Barry, if you maybe pull up YouTube on there and go to Paranormal Q&A with Jack, Ken, and Carly, you might find it easier to watch it on the YouTube panel than that. Well, Ted, I've been talking.
You're welcome, Ted.
And Carly's been talking. They say I'm now going to embarrass you, Ted. Hello, Ted. Oh, that's not Carly. Carly, you got to say it because it's.
No, I said it. That's why.
Oh, you did?
He goes, yes. And that's why he's saying, thanks for saying hi back.
Oh, I thought we didn't. Oh, my mistake. Sorry, Ted.
No, I did.
Oh, okay.
I said, oh, hey, Ted's on. Hi, Ted.
Oh, I missed it. See that? Yeah, Ted, I know. No shit. Okay.
You're welcome, Ted.
And Renee says she lost her St. Benedict's bracelet. That is a bummer.
That is a bummer.
No, Ted, I did not ignore you. I was too busy talking.
Oh.
I didn't see it. I'm just looking for questions. My problem is I'm just looking for anybody's questions, and I did miss you saying hello, Ted. I apologize. So, how you doing out there, my brother? I hope everything's good out there. We got to get together again soon. Got to plan something. So, what do you think? Any other questions? Did we cover everybody's questions? Did we miss anybody's questions? I'm not sure if we did or didn't. I think we got most of them. So, yeah, demonic stuff, all that type of stuff can get kind of crazy. And I'm still kind of, I'll be honest, I'm still kind of having a few issues really with the, nothing bad. I mean, just trying to put it through my head, having dealt with that possession case. So, I'm probably actually going to reach out to my local priest and actually try to meet with him and talk to him about what happened and all that. So I've been thinking about that lately, and it leaves an impression on you. And it's not a bad impression, but it's a quizzical question thing. What do I do from here? And then I have experienced that, and I've done that. I feel like maybe I haven't done enough, or is there something else I can do? And I think that's where I need to start, is back in my faith, and talking to the priest about it. What am I really supposed to be doing here? Renee, we can't wait to get back down either. She's heading to Moundsville Prison this Friday. Oh, awesomeness. Cool. And
Renee, I can't wait to meet you and eat your food. You're a wonderful cook, by the way. The canned stuff that you brought back from seeing her, I was like, oh my gosh, I need to meet this person. She's wonderful.
Yeah, it was all good stuff.
Yeah, it was so good.
We made all fresh stuff recently. You can talk about it on here if you want, Renee. Throw out your thing. I know you post stuff about your preserves and stuff, so feel free. And if you guys don't know anything about Renee's different preserves and stuff she does, check out her Facebook page. She'll tell you all about it there. She is a magnificent cook. There's no doubt about that.
So Steve has a question.
Oh, I know what you're saying, Ted. Yeah, Ted just put this out. It's not about that, Ted. It's just about what am I supposed to be doing next? Am I supposed to be doing? So I didn't do that. I didn't perform the exorcism. I'm not an exorcist. Our friend, I was able to figure out what was going on. I know some of that, but I don't know enough yet. I guess I really want to kind of. I want to learn where I should go next, what I should be doing next, and I am studying demonology. But I just want to. I need to talk to one of my spiritual leaders. I guess is where I'm coming from. I need to talk to one of them to sort some things out for myself. It's more of a personal journey, Ted. And I actually did write out the whole case, what happened, what took place, just for my own edification. So I wouldn't forget things. I would remember what we went through and all that. So I did have to write it down for myself, so I could relook at it. So I have done that. I mean, I have that, but it's a little bit beyond that now. But yes, I know what you're talking about, Ted, and I appreciate that. And I know you've done some stuff yourself. So, and go to a little bit lighter side, more just investigation stuff. Nick says he's heading to Helltown, Ohio, Mansfield Reformatory this weekend. Possibly going to check out a few locations throughout Ohio and Indiana. Awesome. Hey, Nick, you'll have to let us know what you end up doing and stuff. We got a couple people we got to get together with this year still and do some stuff with, or at least the beginning of next year. I still got to be a little bit careful about the COVID stuff, just because of myself and my sister and things like that. But here's a question from Barry. Have you ever used body cameras? If so, do you like using them? No, I don't use a body cam. I carry obviously I carry a camera with me, but I don't use I know what you're talking about, the body cams. No, I don't use those. I don't keep one attached to me at all times. I just carry the portable DVR camera. I do think they are interesting. I do think there's a place for them. I think mostly, though, with regards to those, you could use them for regular investigating. I think mostly I consider them more useful if you're doing stuff for YouTube or making a show or something like that. I think they come in more handy for that. Although they can be useful for just investigating, too. With cases, though, client cases, though, it's fine when you're investigating when the family's not there. But when you're using that stuff, you always want to make sure you have permission. If you're filming the family, you have their permission to do so. Make sure that. You don't want to film people without their permission, which is why we did not film that demonic possession case at all. We did not have permission to, and one of the people involved, the person who was possessed, initially had some really bad things happen, and it was videotaped of what was being done to them, and so that was a very trigger object for them. So we definitely did not use any cameras when that individual, during that process, or when that individual was at the house. We did investigate the house with cameras and everything else. That individual was not there that night. So, but we did do that, just so people know. All right. George just came on. He said, late, but really hope you both are recharged from taking last week off. Yes, yeah, we're doing a lot better. Like I said, I was just not feeling well last week, so I do apologize again that we had to cancel out. I was just under the weather. Little stomach problem. So that's why we skipped last week. Although I always tell Carly she can do the show without me. So you people out there, you can tell her, just because Jack is not available, she could do the show herself with a guest. Right?
That's true.
Tell her people.
I wasn't feeling good either, though. So.
Yeah, but there has been other times that I wasn't feeling good. You're like, I said, well, do the show without me. So
I could always call up Elena.
yeah,
She'd do it with me.
yeah. Renee could do it with you.
Or Renee, yeah.
Even Bob or even Carl.
Yeah.
Could do it with you.
Yeah,
Actually,
that's true.
you know, they know enough stuff. They could do it with you. They could talk about a lot of things. You know, but we have a lot of people. You have a lot of friends out there. Ted could do the show with you if you really
Ted,
needed him.
yeah, Ted would be awesome.
Yeah, I know. Even Barry would do the show with you if you needed to.
Yeah.
You know, and you know who would always do the show with you if you needed her to. Ellen. She'd do it in a heartbeat.
That's true.
Ellen would do it in a heartbeat. Ellen.
She's
Ellen
doing good with her hand, by the way, right?
Yes,
She's
yes.
recovering.
But Ellen would always do the show with you if you needed her to.
Yeah.
I know she would. So.
And George.
George, yes.
George says he would do it, yes.
There are people out there that would always be helpful.
That was a great show that we had with George and Kara, by the way, guys, if you want to go back and check it out and watch it.
That's right.
We did have a show with George and Kara. It was awesome.
Yes, we did. It was a good show. And Ted, yes, okay, we will. If you're talking to me, that is. I see you said we should talk off of here. I don't know if that's meant for us or if that's meant for somebody else you're talking to on the chat room. So just let us know. Because I know you guys are all chatting between each other while we're out there too. So, but whoever needs, and that's what I like about this, because you guys do talk amongst each other. And I think that's great. That's what we were trying to do this for: share information, share ideas, share thoughts on things. Yeah. So it's good, and I'm pretty sure Ted is actually talking to me. So I will talk to you off of here, Ted. Maybe we can actually do a phone call tomorrow if you like, if you're available. So just let me know. I see. I'll go down. And that was earlier. He had said that. I just missed it. I just saw it just now. So I apologize for that. I'm just looking through. See? Yeah, Carly rocks. Yeah, woohoo. Yes, Carly. See? They all want you to do it even if I'm not around. And Bob Maloney says we could do it on protection. You could do it on
that's true.
Yeah. See, you got, see, lots of options out there, Carly. Lots of options. So, and we appreciate that. Sometimes I'm just not available for various reasons. And Carly she's probably going to have some problems coming up too with all her schooling she's going to be doing. So I'll try to be more on top of it all. And Carly is trying to make sure her schedule is always free so she can do the show. But I'm sure there might be times she has a project she has to get done and is going to have to focus on that rather than this stuff. So I made that very clear, But, the college is going to have to go first. Here's a good question. Why do shadow people move so fast? Because they're not affected by friction. I'm going to go with that. Well, remember, they are energy. They're just spiritual energy. I mean, they are a manifestation of something. They're not solid. So, is it possibly? I mean, does gravity affect them? Obviously not. They can float in midair. So would that mean they're not affected by, since they're moving through everything and material is moving through them? Actually, a friction type of thing that we're talking about, the motion of something is limited by how fast we can go and how fast we can move and how far we can go, and distance is limited by gravity, friction, and all that. And they're not affected by that. So that is, I would think, a reason why they are a spiritual thing. They're not bound by the how do I say it? They're not bound by the material rules of this world, right? So physics doesn't apply to them, I don't think. And that's, I have talked to physicists about this. I've actually even talked to physicists, and and they're very interested in this type of thing because they're wondering about that too. Are they more like, or what we're really seeing, a manifestation to us of how we see it, but are they really just a particle and not what we're seeing? Are they projecting that to us, and they're actually just a particle within the air or within the whatever. It's an energy, right? So they may be able to actually move that fast because, again, they're not affected by physical rules of our physical world. So hopefully they gave you kind of a real answer to that question, but I do think it has something to do with that.
Yeah.
Hopefully
I mean,
that answered the question.
and part of
I mean, it makes sense to me working in engineering that we've seen things that the less mass there is to something, the less friction there is for something, the faster something can move. So, that comes with engineering and science. But it's limited still. Actual physical things are limited to the speed they can move, just like a falling object can only fall so fast. That's the way it is. But again, you're talking about a spiritual realm, so it's not bound by our physical rules. Oh yeah, Barry. Yeah, well, we'll figure it out with you sometime about the webcam stuff. It's actually not that hard. If you have a webcam built into your laptop or computer, then we can just try it out sometime, Barry, if you'd like. Just to try to bring you in on a private session and see if we can connect you in, how well it works. It'd be cool. I'd like to have Barry on sometime. Hey, Keith Bailey, how you doing out there? Keith, our friend Keith is on. Good to hear from you, buddy. Hope all is well. Nick said hi to Keith. Here's Cheryl has a thought on. Shadow people I have encountered and seen do move fast sometimes. I think they are interesting to see. I don't feel creeped out by some of them, and that brings up a good point, because clients sometimes ask us, well, how do I know if this thing is negative or evil or if it's trying to hurt me? And I say, well, when you've seen that, when you saw that shadow figure, how did you feel? What do you mean? Well, were you scared? Did you feel scared? Did you feel afraid? Did you feel like you were being threatened? And they're like, no. So you felt what? And they're usually, well, I was just curious what I was looking at. Well, then it's just intent is probably not malicious. And then I've had times where people say, oh, I wanted to run and get the hell out of there. Well, then it probably was projecting that type of feeling towards you, that it wanted to maybe hurt you or interact with you in a way that you didn't want it to. It's just like a person, right? If you look at somebody and you get a vibe off of them that I don't think I want to be around this person, that could be something negative that's going on. And you interact with another person, you're like, oh, well, they're interesting, and you want to try to figure out more about them or find out more about them. So, I say you deal with things that way. You look at things that way, and you consider spirits and shadow figures, everything else the same way. And Bob Burnell has a question. Oh, and Keith says he's escaping a hurricane. Oh, well, that's that's right, because it is coming out your way, isn't it? Yeah, try to avoid that, Keith, if you can. Stay safe out there. So the question Bob has: we have an investigation this weekend, and while we are setting up our equipment, we are going to play circa 1750 era piano music for the resident spirits. Have you ever tried this before? Yes, I have tried playing music in different locations, even in a jail, and had reactions to it. So yes, it's a very good trigger object kind of thing to do. I would also say if they were some from the 1750s era, see if you can, beyond just the music, that's a great thing to do. See if you have any other objects or items that you could use at this location as trigger objects to try to interact with them. Try speaking in that type of English, if I assume they were English speaking, from that era. Try using their type of language to communicate with them better, because they spoke a little bit differently than we do now, right? I mean, the language back then, there was different types of words that were used, like slang, like we do today. But look at that a little bit too, and see if you can speak in their language a little bit. If there was somebody at the location that spoke French, try just if you have somebody on your team that speaks a little bit of French, try that. That can work. It can trigger things. Kind of know the people that you're going to investigate before you investigate them. Get a little bit of background on them in a location like that. And so try to communicate on their level. Let them know who you are. Speak to them as people. And I think you'll get a lot of good reactions at them. That's a great one, is to use the music. Even try not just playing the music, but the type of piano music you're playing, they used to dance to it. Look up the type of dance they used to do maybe to that music, or how they used to dance to that music, and try doing that, right? Try doing that actual dance and see what kind of interaction you get. So those type of things that will, if spirits are there, it'll trigger an emotional response to them, with them, and they might interact with you more. Just some suggestions. What do you think, Carly?
No, I agree. Music is a great way to connect with spirit. I actually do believe that music also is the type of music that you like and prefer actually is a good kind of tell on your personality, who you are as a person. People can really connect to music, and sometimes even on a spiritual level, people can connect to music. So, I think music is a great way to connect. And I remember when we went to the investigation location for the class, Bob Maloney actually was the one who had the idea to play the music that this person had played while they performed at the location.
That's right, he did.
So,
yes. Yeah. Bob got an A++ for that.
Yes, he did.
That was really
That was
good.
awesome.
That was really, I was thinking like a true investigator. I mean, like, you really put some thought into that. That was a great thing to do. And I don't remember if he got anything out of it, but it was a great way to do that.
Well, there was a period where he had a K2 activity that seemed to be following him around, and whenever people would get near him, it would stop.
Yeah, I do remember that.
And that was after he started playing the music.
And we actually had similar K2 activity in the same location.
Yes.
Later on, because we went up there and tried to debunk it if it was something else.
Cool.
We couldn't narrow it down to anything. So it was very interesting. Steve White has got, why are graveyards and cemeteries so active? Meaning, why do spirits want to hang out there? I've actually never found them that active. I personally, I had a little bit of activity at one, which actually goes back to that case in Springfield, Massachusetts, where I did pick up an EVP outside the Bay Path Cemetery, which is a pauper cemetery. And it really didn't have to do with the case directly. It was something along the lines of the place was, the gate to the cemetery was locked. We had to find another way in. It was during the day. It was during hours. It was supposed to be open, but it was locked. And you could hear this female voice saying something like, sorry, it was locked, something like that. And it was right next to my car as I was actually getting ready to put things away. I had left my recorder going. It was the only EVP we got there the whole time. I've never run into too much activity at cemeteries, so to be honest with you.
I think the coolest experience I ever had was at a cemetery.
Yeah.
With the Mount Ida Cemetery with Stacy. Do you remember that experience?
Oh,
you weren't there.
Yeah. You told me about that. I wasn't there. But go ahead and tell that story. Yeah, because Carly's had. And then maybe you can say why you think that's the case.
Yeah. So Stacy Horton, Steve Coles, and I were over at the Mount Ida Cemetery over in Troy, I think is where it is.
Yes, pretty.
We were doing a preliminary investigation before an event to see what kind of activity we could pick up. And they had been there previously, and they wanted to see what the activity was like compared to previous. So we were investigating in the cemetery for a while, and we reached this point where we were at the far end. It was getting pretty late, and it was getting a little bit cold, so Steve wanted to head back to his truck to go grab a sweatshirt. And so he left. He just took a walkie, and he left us all. We were getting a little bit of K2 activity, not too much. And so he walks back to the truck, and he's grabbing his stuff out of his car, and we see this guy walk down this path and walk towards Steve. And we saw him walk behind the car, and we could see him go through the windows and around the car and come walking up to Steve, and Steve starts walking back toward us. And now Stacy and I are both like, is that guy like talking to Steve? Like, is Steve trying to ignore him? Like, that would seem like a really weird situation where Steve didn't acknowledge that person. And so Stacy went over the walkie and was like, Steve, who's that with you? He's like, are you okay? Who's that with you? And he turned around and he goes, no one's here with me. And the guy just disappeared. And that was, Stacy and I both looked at each other like, you saw that too, right? So
that is a very interesting story.
Yeah.
Interesting though, it was outside the cemetery.
Yes. No, that was in the cemetery. We were parked in the cemetery. Now, what was happening was there was an accident that was right across from the cemetery where an ambulance was called. We did not see anyone get put into the ambulance, so we're not sure if they ended up being okay or if they ended up passing. But I do know Steve has experience in the emergency services, correct?
Yes.
So what we were thinking of, since it was an emergency, was someone was trying to come up to him to ask for help. As possibly that was our hypothesis, because we don't really know what his purpose was.
Well, I mean, the fact that they appeared so vivid could mean that they just recently passed.
Yeah.
Because the energy would be stronger, especially if they were looking for help.
Yeah.
The energy would be much stronger, because they may not have actually totally passed yet. That may be their soul just kind of wandering at the moment.
Yeah.
And so that's interesting, though. So I have had some experiences in that same cemetery. I think some cemeteries have more activity than others. We did see with that same cemetery, both Stacy and I did see a dark shadow figure. Actually, that was even captured some of that. That was shown on one of the Haunted Case Files season 2 shows. Had to do with Stacy's case, as a matter of fact. And we did capture it. I mean, you see this shadow figure, and you see these two eyes light up, and which is actually what I saw. And it just darted off, disappeared. Very strange, very odd. But that does happen.
I had an experience there too.
But I've never experienced too many like human spirits. And why would they get back to the question? Why do they hang around? I don't really have an answer for that. I don't know why you would. I don't think I'd want to hang around my grave. But then there's a possibility that it's not just the whole soul, that we maybe perhaps leave a part of ourselves in every different location when we pass on. I do believe that, and there's a reason why I believe that.
I will say though that where my grandfather and my dad are buried is a wonderful view, like where their plot is, and it's very peaceful over there. And I remember my dad actually mentioning to me that when he passes, that he would actually prefer to stay at the cemetery because it's such a peaceful place, and we really lucked out to get a plot that had such a great view. So I was like, oh, okay, like.
Well, that could be the case then too.
Yeah, so
I mean, that could be the case. It's just a very nice, pleasant, quiet, peaceful place. I mean, it could be different reasons for different things. So maybe that answers Steve's question. You had I think, a better answer for him than I had. I just haven't. I don't spend much time in cemeteries. I mean, I don't really investigate cemeteries anyway, so I don't spend a lot of time in them unless it's related to a case or an investigation event thing we're doing. So I don't have a lot of experience with that. But Steve, if you're experiencing that, those types of things, share that out with us, because I'd like to know what you have experienced in those locations. And again, back to our friend Keith. Yes, stay safe out there, Keith. And just, again, be safe out there. With that hurricane coming through, we don't want to see any of our friends get hurt, or any of their family or friends get hurt. Those storms can be very devastating.
Yeah.
I'm going to put this up for my sister. It talks about shadow figures. I've met some very nice shadow people over the years. She has, too. I've seen them since I was about 2-3 years old. That's true. That's actually true. Which I liked when they did my story on I think it was My Paranormal Nightmare. And she got to tell her part of her story on there as well. Things I didn't know she had experienced, and things she didn't know I had experienced. So, but yeah, some shadow figures are actually pleasant. They're not all bad. And my sister loves cemeteries. I don't dislike them. I just don't go to them unless I need to. Most investigators will go lights out during an investigation. What do you guys prefer? Does it really matter? Sorry. Yeah, it's all right, Steve. Actually, I prefer going lights out only because it quiets down the electrical fields when you do that. And when you have everything running, the lights are on, everything else, you will get spikes in EMF that maybe you wouldn't normally get. So it does make it easier. Makes it easier for us, especially using infrared. I can still see in the dark anyway. I mean, once you acclimate to it, you can still see, unless you're in a pitch black area. But yeah, I just prefer it because it seems just quieter. It seems easier to speak to what's there. You don't have to. I've caught stuff, evidence during the day. I mean, broad daylight. So it really doesn't matter. I just prefer it. I just think it's quieter. It sets up a quieter investigation. Makes it easier to just communicate with spirit, because less noise, less EMF activity, and just makes it easier to communicate. And actually kind of calms me down. I like the darkness a little bit.
It kind of opens up your other senses as well.
Better too. Huh?
Yeah, it opens up your other senses as well, because you're not getting as much kind of like what's the term for it? Oh my gosh, I totally left my head. Interference in terms of like information. So like instead of seeing, you're more feeling.
Right. Yeah, you're not relying so much on your visual senses as your other senses.
Right.
Yeah, and that's true too. And Nick says we do investigations of what we call cemetery crawls. Yep. I think I did some of those as a kid. Just used to go into cemeteries to spook ourselves out mostly. But my sister says they're very peaceful, and I feel comfortable in them. They are. Most cemeteries, especially during the day, are very peaceful. They take on a little bit different feeling at night. And maybe there is, because there's more spirit activity at night. I do,
I feel like they're actually more peaceful at night for me, actually, honestly.
Yeah, and Nick was just talking about the hurricane and all that. And that's good. We like to know what's going on. Steve says, "Okay, thank you very much." Okay, no problem, Steve. My sister says she prefers the night and darkness over daylight anyway, which is why I always work nights. Oh, that's true. Well, nighttime is more peaceful.
Interesting little note there. So I heard a while ago that actually, you know how people are more like daytime people or nighttime people? That actually corresponds with the time that you were born. Oh. Which the people that I've met so far have actually, that's correlated. So I was born more around 6 p.m.-ish, and I'm more of a nighttime person. And all the morning people I've known have all been born either early in the morning or, in the morning time.
Yeah. So I am an
I don't
afternoon
know if that's an actual
person.
fact. Yeah, well, I don't know. But maybe you're in the middle. You don't prefer anything.
I was born at 2 p.m. or something like that. I can't.
Yeah. I think I was born around 6 p.m. I think that's what I was told. I'm not really sure. But, yeah.
I don't know. It's on the back of one of my baby photos somewhere. I have it. My mother wrote it down on the back of it for each of us. when we were born.
Oh,
Yeah, that way we knew when we were born. I have that photo around somewhere. So I know I didn't lose it. I know I have it. And some people do ask in regards to that day or night. I mean, people say, well, how come you always investigate at night? Well, it's because I work during the day.
yeah.
That's my job.
We have day jobs.
So, and Saturday, like when we usually investigate on weekends, either Friday night or Saturday. And, some Saturdays I got stuff to do before I head out for an investigation. So, we head more towards late afternoon. We actually sometimes begin before it gets dark, actually. We may begin around 4 or 5 o'clock and go until like 1 or 2 in the morning. That way it gives us the most time at a location to try to figure out what's really going on and really put a good investigation into it. Because in most cases, when you're dealing with private individuals, we're not making a TV show, so we don't have a week to take over somebody's home. We have one night, or hopefully maybe 12 hours, and we got to get the most we can in that time frame. So we do the best we can, and we try to find out what's going on. And we may go back more than we actually do go back more than once, and do actual smaller investigations in between. To try to re-verify some things, or if we think we made contact, try to recontact that spirit and see what's going on. So we do go back more than just once, but we just don't do it for a week straight like you see on some of the shows. We just can't do that anyway. Again, we work for a living, so I gotta work. So that's about it. And we are at, let's see, we are an hour and 11 minutes.
Wow. That went by fast.
Hey, Raven Littlefeather. How you doing out there, Raven? And Shallow, my sister says, our mother said she was born around 3 a.m. I know I was in the afternoon. That's all I remember.
Interesting.
So how you doing out there, Raven? And we're just getting ready to shut down the show for the evening. Don't forget, we are now also live on YouTube and Periscope, which is part of Twitter. It's a video portion for Twitter. So we're live on both those locations now, as well as here on Facebook every Tuesday, almost every Tuesday, unless I'm sick or something. Every Tuesday, starting at 8 p.m., we come on. And if anybody just still has more questions, we hang out. We're not stuck to an hour, obviously. Usually we end up going an hour and a half, sometimes 2, depending on the questions. So if anybody still has more questions, go ahead and feel free to ask. We don't have anything going on right now. So, but I just want to get some of that stuff in. And if you're looking for any of my books, Paranormal Research or Spirits, Hauntings, Ghosts, and Demons, or my comic books, Spirits of Forgotten Souls of Baypath, you can find them all on Amazon.com. Just put in my name, Jack Kenna, and you will find them all there if you do a search. So, but if anybody else still has any other questions, and Bob Maloney has something he's talking about here. Okay. Let's see if I can put this up there. I don't think we'll put the whole thing up, but we'll read it. Oh, it does. Okay. Bob Maloney, a couple of nights ago, I was reading in bed a ghost story. I finished the book and started the next story. I read about 3 chapters, and the tablet slipped out of my hand a couple of times. I thought I better stop reading at the end of the chapter. For some reason, I turned my head to the right, and there was an old gray woman standing there. Scared the crap out of me. It disappeared as soon as I saw it. I think it was a dream, even though I was awake, or was it? Good question, Bob. Was there any character like that in the story you were reading, I would ask? I mean, sometimes our mind does play games with us, and we may be, in that kind of lull where we're starting to fall asleep, and we might imagine something. Or, did that individual you saw, that old gray lady, remind you of someone? Was it somebody from your family, or an aunt, uncle, mother, father, something? does it remind you of anybody from your family? It's hard to say, especially when we're in that semi-awake mode. But that is when spirit will reach out to us. That's when we're at our most, let's say, a vulnerable mental state for them to interact with, where they can show themselves to you or try to communicate something to you. So it's hard to say, Bob, but I would say go with what you feel. Do you think it was real, or did it seem actually vivid to you? Were you actually awake? If you were, you might have just had an interaction with a spirit, maybe that lived in that home before you, or lived somewhere near your property. And Bob, yeah, you're very welcome. That's what we're here for, to try to answer people's questions as best we can. And for you guys also talk amongst yourselves and try to help each other answer questions too. And we thank you all for watching tonight. We hope you enjoyed the show. And I'm glad we got that last little tidbit in for Bob. Hopefully that maybe, I didn't really answer your question, Bob, but it's food for thought. And we will all get together sometime here coming up soon. Ed just jumped in. Ed, we're ready, getting ready to leave the show here. But always glad to see everybody. Ed, I know you've got your shows going on, and God bless you for what you're doing out there. And feel free to post what you're doing out on your own here in our little thing, if you like, about what your own show is about. Feel free. And that goes for anybody else, because we want you guys to share your information. If any of you else, I know Ted has his own radio show and stuff and video stuff he's doing. Feel free to share it here with everybody else. We don't mind. It's all good. That's what it's about, sharing information and sharing knowledge and all that. So please, all feel free. And love you all out there. Keith, you take care of yourself, buddy. You stay safe out there. We don't want anything happening to you. So, you and John and your son, stay safe out there. Keep that whole family safe out there in Texas. All right. We'll be praying for you tonight. And everybody else, you guys all take care. God bless. And we'll see you all next Tuesday. Love you all.
Bye.
Okay. Goodbye, everybody. Have a good night.